So welcome everyone to this presentation. Welcome Nima and Faraz. Pleased to see you guys. Of course, we're going to wait till more participants show up. Give us a couple of seconds. So we already had a couple of hours. Luckily, I had some possibility to sleep in between.
That's a good thing.
It's been an amazing night as well. So many interesting stories. Okay. So first of all, very welcome to Nima and Faraz. They are both owners of a restaurant chain and as you see, they are creating brilliant omelets. So they're going to take us through their own story using lean and their own brilliance and how they went about. So it's up to you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Nima. This is Faraz. We are brothers, both as we are business owners of Omlek. I have a 10-year plus hospitality experience prior to Omlek, actually. I've done everything from hotels to bars to restaurants to clubs, never as an owner or even as a manager, but just doing the field work. And at some moment, we decided to do this. And Faraz...
Before Omlek, I used to start work for the Dutch Lean Management Institute. I worked with Renee and the colleagues, of course, and I have very minor hospitality experience. The only experience I had was work in a cinema for 1 year. So I was pretty blank, let's say, when starting this endeavor of Omlek.
So how the idea came about? We initially were really personally lacking the good place to go to, because we are early birds ourselves. So there was never a place that was open at 7 a.m. in Amsterdam in those times. Well, actually there were two, to be very honest, but they were not really taking it serious in terms of the menu offerings at that moment. Also in Amsterdam back then, and still the hospitality in terms of welcoming people, actually acknowledging their presence, feeling them, letting them feel at home, and giving them a warm welcome was always lacking. So this is also what we wanted to address, and also the lack of breakfast places that you could actually have a proper breakfast from that moment, from the very early morning till we are open, for example, till 3:30 ourselves. But in general, in Amsterdam, still actually in a lot of places is that they would open at 7, 8, or 9, but then the menu is not available from the very first moment. You can only choose between a yogurt or a croissant, and then it goes until the chef comes in, which is 10 or 11, and then you can have their menu. So this is what we really wanted to address, and that is what we did. So our menu is available from second one till the last minute of our opening hours, and that is what we did, which we still are kind of unique in, to be honest. And I think this is one of the reasons we really could make a position when it comes to the breakfast scene in Amsterdam itself. So we are a full service restaurant specialized in omelets. Everything is made to order, so and everything is fresh. We don't do pre-makes. Obviously, the things like processed meats, yeah, that is something that we buy prepared. But that's the only thing. Everything else is done there. Live cooking. We have a very open kitchen. I mean, as open as it gets. It's basically a bar that the dishes, when they are prepared, they can be picked up by the waiting staff and they will bring it to your table. But everything is very much an experience for the guest itself. The opening hours, as you can see, is from 7 to 3:30 during the week, and 8 to 3:30 during the weekends. And I have to say, especially during the summer, I mean, we have already a line, especially in one of our locations, which is more central in the city center of Amsterdam. There is already a line before the opening hours, because of our good reputation, and also lack of other restaurants that offer from that moment on. So we do 160K guests per year over 2 shops. And we have done a calculation based on the data that we have from our till system. And that is 55 guests per hour with only 74 seats. And one of the shops is even more positive when it comes to the percentage. But this is already for us a super win. And one of the things that we really praise ourselves for is the 0 waste. We really do not have any waste at all. Every ingredient, everything that we prepare, nothing goes to waste. The only waste that we could name, if we have to, it's if we make mistakes from taking the order or preparing. That's the only thing, and usually actually that is consumed by ourselves. So nothing goes into the trash. Faraz will explain something about how we came to this specialization. So
thank you for the intro, Nima. So the name of our presentation and what we want to talk about today is the case for specialization. So you can imagine when you start as an early entrepreneur, you are very kind of insecure, because it was our first actual business in hospitality. So we basically put everything on the menu. And later on, I will show a slide that also gives you a nice anecdote about that. So basically, people were coming in and asking for certain menu items. And because we were in the first weeks and couple months, we were quite slow. So you want to take any opportunity to create clientele. So we were putting everything on the menu, from sandwiches to paninis to salads to soups and everything. And soon we found out that after about 6 to 8 months, I think our popularity began to grow all of a sudden. We think because Amsterdam obviously being a touristy city and breakfast being the least exploited part of hospitality, because evening hospitality obviously is exploited a lot over the world, but breakfast is not that much. So we think we filled the gap that was really necessary, and that's why we got the traction that we had in the first year. Well, the problem was that the popularity generated long waiting times, long queues, and unhappy guests. And the problem with breakfast and eggs, to be specific, is that the expectation of the guest is that it has to be fast. So our goal was quite clear. We had to downsize basically in the process that we had and specialize more in order to create the flow that was necessary. This is one short example of how one omelet heated up in a the egg batter basically of the omelet. So this created long waiting times, as you can imagine, because the video was 36 seconds, and this was only for collecting the ingredients. This wasn't even cooking the omelets. So we had in the beginning, we had 50 minutes of waiting time before the guests were served. So as I said before, we had salads, panini, sandwiches, soups, everything. And we, in the last 10 years, we basically downsized them to only omelets and other egg-related dishes, which we call etc. So instead of having 8 to 9 menu categories. Basically, we are now down to 3, including the drinks. You can see the little cartoon on the right. This really happened. So somebody in the first weeks came in and asked for soup, and we literally put it on the next day. So, but luckily we learned not to do that anymore and to respect our own concept in order to keep up with the demand and the flow inside the business. Another point that we focused on was the ordering speed. So we had basically connected to having a lot of variation. We had also a lot of options. So imagine you're sitting down and a waiter or waitress is coming to take your order. We had almost a standard 3 questions, which was the size of the drink. So if they ordered orange juice, we always asked a small or a large. If they wanted the bread, which came with the plates, we had the variations of white and brown bread, so whole wheat or just plain bread. And also, what else did we do? We had egg styles. So with certain dishes, we asked for the egg styles. Nowadays, we completely remove those moments for asking questions. For speed to be one thing, but the second thing, much more important, asking so many questions also increases the chances of having and making mistakes. For example, 3 friends sit down, they order drinks, different sizes, and one of the friends ordered a small size and got envious when the drinks got to the table because their friend's drink was a large one, and then they said, no, we ordered a large one. Obviously, this could be also a mistake from our side, but mainly these things happened, and this just created a lot of mishaps and mistakes. So we took away all the different variations. So the egg styles are predetermined today, except for one dish, which is a kind of an English breakfast that we have, and you have to respect that for people to ask for a different egg style. But also there, they have to ask. We don't ask anymore. And the drinks are all one size and the bread is all one style. So we don't have anymore the probability of having any mistakes with the different options that we do. Another point was door management. This was basically managing expectations. What happened was people were coming in and they didn't know how long they were waiting. So we have a specific person in front of the door that does also the drinks, which we'll come to later. And they are telling each and every person waiting in line what is the expecting waiting time. And this already helped a lot. I'm going to go a little faster through the presentation because I think the time is going quite fast. So kitchen and shop layout between 2013 and 19, we did 4 major renovations. Being the important ones was the location of the dishwasher. Initially, we had it in the central of the kitchen, but we moved it to the corner in order for the hot and the cold chef to be near each other. We brought a lot of the ingredients that we use in front. We were walking, let's say in the 8-hour shift, we were walking maybe 50 times to the back storage to take those ingredients. So we brought a lot of those high movers, let's say top movers, to the front. So there is much less movement to the back and to the front. The bar personnel, as I just mentioned, does the door management as well, because they're the first point of the guest contact, let's say. So they can be best used for managing the expectations of our guests. And our second location, we noticed in the first that a lot of people, especially on weekend days and busy moments, they were taking a long time to have a seat in the restaurant. Obviously, you don't want to make them feel uncomfortable and ask them to leave. So in the second store, we actually, it sounds weird, but we made the seats a little less comfortable in order for them to eat and basically go. But this was all to create the flow, because you cannot create flow only in the kitchen, and where the walkthrough is slow, then you don't have a leveled out flow. So this was quite helpful, and we noticed that that helped a lot. This is the dishwasher situation, as I mentioned. And what I was saying about the hot ingredients and the cold ingredients, one really important change that helped us with creating speed in the kitchen was having the fridge for the hot ingredients. That means ingredients going on the grill, next to the grill, and the ingredients that were cold, so basically the cheeses, they were next to the stove, so they can go directly in the omelets. Before we lost a lot of time by waiting basically for the cheese to melt. So we tackled that of putting the cheese directly on the hot omelet and then putting the hot ingredients from the grill on top. And in this case, you are talking about seconds for the cheese to melt. So that also increased a lot. These are certain some of the iterations that we had, and after 4 and 1 minor renovation, we really got to the point that everything was on point. We did a lot of testing and experimenting. For example, on ingredient level only, what I was talking about with the melting of the cheese, we did a lot to pre-steam ingredients. For example, a raw onion, you can imagine, takes a long time to cook on the grill. So we pre-steam that in order to make sure that the cooking of ingredients on the grill are all at the same level. So for example, a thick cut of sausage, it will take much longer than, let's say, a piece of bell pepper that is on the grill. So we even modified each and every ingredient on the thickness of cuts, and we standardized them in order to, whenever you put the ingredients, you don't need to wait for one ingredient more than the other. They all have to have the same time, cooking time, basically. Also, another thing, for example, a leaf of spinach, we noticed that's cooking too fast, actually. And there is a level where you can increase the time. So we decided to put the spinach inside the egg. So whenever we put our egg in the pan, we put the spinach directly in there in order for it to slowly cook, because the temperature of the grill obviously is much higher. And doing this, we learned that this helped a lot with visual management. And what do I mean by that? Before, when we started, we did one garnish for each and every, or a separate garnish for all the different omelets. So omelet with thyme had a twig of thyme on there. And you can imagine how timely that is if you have a table of 4 and you're doing 4 different garnishes. So today we have standardized garnishes for almost 95% of our dishes. But the herbs that we use, they help to identify the omelet. So this is also creating speed for the waiting staff not to ask what the omelet is, because from the outside they kind of look the same. But by adding these little identifying ingredients, for example, dried oregano, then the waiting staff knows which omelet it is, so they don't need to ask what it is. They can take the ticket and they know which plate is what. And another point was between the cold and the hot dishes. So before we had all the soups and the salads and the omelets, it was taking too long to synchronize the timing, because you wanted plates to go at the same time to the plates. So by taking that out, we only have now the hot dishes that are the main thing, and all the other condiments and the croissant, they go separate. So there is no more need to time and synchronize. The data-drivenness, we used the location of the menu item. So we noticed that a lot of items were ordered much more and we couldn't point out what it was. And after doing several tests, we found out that actually the location of the menu item had a great impact. And we, for example, used that to our benefit by putting higher margin products and dishes on those locations that people tend to go with their eyes, let's say. Ticket time. Unfortunately, from 2018, before that, we don't have the data because we didn't have the same till system. But from 2018 and onwards, we can keep track of everything. Today, our ticket time, which is from ordering until payment, whenever they sit down. On average, between the two shops is 31 minutes. In 2018, this was 37 minutes. And before, so in the beginnings, we don't have data, but we are pretty sure that this was 45 minutes and plus. So we think the little changes that we did actually also showed in the data, and we use that data to actually change those things. One exception that we don't use any data is the pricing. So what do I mean by that? In hospitality, normally people take the time to measure all the ingredients. We don't do that. We think, okay, what is the perception of a person that is ordering smoked salmon? What do they want to pay for that? And that is how we do the pricing. I'm going to Nima now.
So in order, one of the things that we really discovered also in order to gain speed, in order to take away the frustrations of waiting times for the guests, and obviously the frustration on the floor for preparing the things, was coffee. Because at some point we had optimized the kitchen speed to an extent that the food was faster on the table than your drinks. And that was really crazy. So we had to make some changes, and therefore we, against our will, because there are some things that you do for the sake of the process. This is one of them. We acquired automated coffee machines. The same machines, they are very fast, very capable, but of course they are different in terms of experience and also flavor-wise, somewhat when you compare it to a manual espresso machine. But we figured we are not a coffee place. We are a breakfast place that serve coffee. So our coffee is very decent, but of course not the top of the line when it comes to the consistency if you compare it to an espresso machine. But they are very well, and we, in order to not lose that much of a quality, we actually have our own brand of coffee, which we get roasted by a roasting company that also basically make sure the quality is always there. So everything was done for the last, we started in 2013. So for the past 11 years, we did all these optimizations. And this year, we thought, okay, it's time to actually tackle the inventory and the storage space, because everything was optimized except for that. With the help of Stefan Visser from Lean Institute Netherlands, he gave us a kickstart on how to tackle that. As you can see, this is the process with Stefan actually on the picture. This was the situation. The pile of boxes is butter, which we only need basically one for 2 days, but there is so many because there were no clear ways for the staff to order or to know what are the maximums, and that is what they just randomly ordered for the capacity that we had. So we had to reduce the capacity, and we had to optimize the visualization for the ingredients and come up with minimums and maximums. So what we did is actually we did some tests. This is the last version. This is 3.0, where we have the boxes per item. As you can see, for example, on the right, the green tea, we know the calculation is based upon multiple things. It's about the packaging, that is one thing, the consumption, and also the average consumption over the whole week. So we didn't want to have this, for example, order one when it's empty to tackle the weekday. We wanted to be able to tackle also the weekends, which is based on ordering, a number of ordering days with the suppliers. And also we did a 2-bin system, which really helped out. So as you can see, we reduced 80% cooling space. This is calculated based on the liter capacity of the former fridges with the new fridges, 70% in freezing, and 60% reduction of overall inventory. That is huge. I mean, in terms of money, but moreover, the overview, the space that you save, the clarity for the staff that is now very well, you basically take away the thinking. You just give them a visual, when this, then that, and that is all you need. And Faraz will now tell a bit
So
more.
I think we have 1 more minute. So quickly, the bigger picture, what really helped is reducing waiting time in the process flow, is increased staff satisfaction, the customer expectation and satisfaction, the workload for staff, obviously. The process does the communication. This is very key. No need to yell in the kitchen. Obviously, all of this helps a lot with food quality and consistency. And cost saving, besides the inventory, we are doing now all the processes during operating hours. So no more before prep or after closing. Everything is done within those hours. Thank you very much. And if there
Thank
are
you all.
questions, we are happy to answer them.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, it's an amazing experience. It has been super. So for everyone interested, if you're ever in Amsterdam, visit the guys. It's just brilliant. So are there any questions? Please fill them in the Q&A, and we can answer those. My question to you guys, what do you see as a next step? Here's Dan and Nisimov also asking this question. What are your next steps?
First of all, the next step is this coming Saturday, we have our final meetings of all meetings that we already have had in the last few months, which is to acquire our 3rd location in Amsterdam, in Jordan, which is at this very moment 99% deal. So that is the thing that we do. And the good thing about all these optimizations that we have done recently, it's basically a plug and play process. So we just need to copy whatever we did in these 2 locations, and the process is so much easier. When it comes to inventory, how we place everything. Obviously, this is a summary of 11 years of experience, but this last year was really an amazing one, especially also with the help of Rene and Stefan also, that helped us through this process to optimize even better. And we hope in the near future to actually go to other countries, which we already were. We were in Berlin. I don't remember if I was told.
No.
We had a location in Berlin, but due to COVID, we had to close that. But now we are looking for possibilities to see what we can do in Spain, for example.
Yeah, so you're going to spread Omelec across the globe.
Yes,
I think you do something else as well. One of the results is that you have a staff that is very dedicated and doesn't have to work in the evening. So it's like you still work in hospitality, but with normal hours.
Yes.
So there's little to none overwork. So people can have a decent work-life balance.
Right.
I mean, it's key. I think Boudewijn, your chief is still working for you guys all these years, and he's loving his job, creating brilliant standards, and it's also very healthy fast food. I mean, imagine, many of us love fast food, but this is
actually, in some ways, we think we are faster than some big fast food chains. If you just come in and you get a healthy, freshly prepared dish on demand, it's we are very proud of that.
Yeah, well done. So let's see if there's any other questions coming in. No. Then I think I'd like to thank you guys for sharing the story of Omelec. I wish you all the best for the future, and we're going to talk soon. Thanks to the participants, and enjoy the rest of this brilliant event. Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.